Elements of visual perception. It is under coming in digital image fundamentals and transforms. Elements of human visual system. The following figure shows anatomy of the human eye in cross section. Here, this is temple side. Sorry. Temple side. This is nasal side. Eye cross section. This is retina. This is retina. This is visual axis. Ovira. Optic nerve. Choroid. Choroid. Sclera. Sclera. Iris. Cornea. Cornea. This is the lens. There are two types of receptors in the retina. Where is the retina? Here. Two types of receptors in the retina. Rods and long cylinder receptors. The cones are generally shorter and thicker in structure. Shorter and thicker in the structure. The rods and cones are not distributed evenly around the retina. Around the retina part. Rods and cones are not distributed evenly around the retina. Yes. Here higher than here. Here is different. Here is different. Here is different. Here is different. Not evenly distributed. The rod and cones operate differently. Operate differently. Rods are more sensitive to light than cones. Here, this part. Rods are more sensitive to light than cones. At low levels of illumination, the rods provide visual response called scopetic vision. Rods here. Scopetic vision. Cones respond at a higher level in illumination. The response is called photopic vision. Scopetic vision at the low level of illumination. At the high level of illumination, scopetic vision. And cones. Here, what will do? Rods. Okay. Rods are more sensitive to light than cones. More sensitive because low sensitivity, low light, no? Low levels of illumination. Rods. Digital image processing. Sensitivity of rods and cones. 7. Based upon measurement by weight 8. Reference. Sensitivity of rods and cones. This is the cones sensitivity. This is the rod sensitivity. Log or relative sensitivity. Wavelength. Log relative sensitivity. Wavelength both are same, but log relative sensitivity more than cone. Rod is more than cone. Degree from fovea. Degree from fovea. Blind spot. This one. This one cones rods. This is the cones. This is the rods. There are three basic types of cones and in the retina. The cones, these cones have different absorption characteristics as a function of wavelength with peak absorptions in the red, green and blue regions of the optimal spectrum. The cones have different absorption characteristics as a function of wavelength with peak absorptions in the red, green, blue optical spectrum. E is blue, B is green, and G is red. Most of the cones are the fovea, not the fovea. Cones are the fovea. Rods are spread just about everywhere except the fovea. There are relatively low sensitivity to blue light. There is a lot of overlap. Digital image processing. Grayscale. Perception is not linear here. Wavelength, relative response, low, high, wavelength 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer. Here blue, here green, here red. So red is having 600 nanometer to 700 nanometer. Green is having 500 nanometer to 600 nanometer. Blue is having 400 nanometer to 500 nanometer. Okay. Image formation in the eye. Viewed scene. Viewed scene. It is going to retina through iris. Digital image processing under in 100-meter distance, 15-meter height tree in corner. In the codes, um, opposite. Here straight, here straight tree, here opposite tree. Inversion. Contrast sensitivity. The response of the eye to changes in the intensity of illumination is nonlinear. The response of the eye to changes in the intensity of illumination is nonlinear. Consider a patch of light intensity I plus dI surrounded by a background intensity I as shown in the following figure. Over a wide range of intensities, it is found that the ratio dI by I, called the Weber fraction, is nearly constant at a value of about 0.02. This does not hold at very low or very high intensities. Furthermore, contrast sensitivity is dependent yeah. So furthermore, contrast sensitivity is dependent on the intensity of the surround. Furthermore, contrast sensitivity is dependent on the intensity of the surround. Consider the second panel of the previous figure. Furthermore, the contrast sensitivity is dependent. Contrast density is dependent on intensity of surrounding. Consider the second panel of the previous figure. Here, no background, I plus delta I, intensity del I divided by I, intensity I, 2. So no background. Here with the background, I plus ID, delta I plus ID. Delta I by divided I, intensity I, background level IO, like this. Contrast sensitivity measurements. Logarithmic response of cones and rods. The response of the cones and rods to light is nonlinear. In fact, many image processing systems assume that the eye response is logarithmic instead of linear with respect to intensity. The test of hypothesis that the response of the cones and rods are logarithmic. We examine the following two cases. If the intensity responses of the receptors to intensity is linear, the intensity response of the receptors to intensity is linear, then the derivative of the response with respect to intensity should be constant. This is not the case as seen in the next figure. To show that the response to intensity is logarithmic, we take the logarithmic of the intensity response and then take derivative with respect to intensity. This derivative is nearly constant, providing that intensity response of cones and rods can be modeled as a logarithmic response. Another way to see